Hey girl, welcome back to the Her Best Self podcast. I'm Lindsey Nickel, and today I'm going to be real with you about something I know you're feeling. If you are in it, sis, if you're in the thick of it, the hard stuff, the messy middle, the part of recovery, or maybe even just life and struggling with disordered thoughts and feelings, it feels like it's never going to end sometimes. And gosh, do I get it. Maybe you've had a really rough week this week. Maybe food has been crazy. Maybe you looked in the mirror and spiraled. You're exhausted from fighting those same god-awful battles in your head day after day after day. I get you because I was you. I was sitting right there wondering if recovery was worth the fight because life was so hard. It felt like somebody was taking me out. So I wanted to talk a little bit about this in today's episode. Hang with me, friend. You're going to like this one. It's going to give you a little tough love, and it's also going to keep you grounded in truth. Hey girl, welcome to the Her Best Self podcast. I'm Lindsey Nickel, former competitive figure skater and perfectionist, turned God-led imperfect boy mom and digital CEO. If you find yourself constantly thinking about food and wondering if you'll wake up one day free from the obsessive thoughts and behaviors controlling your life, then I've created this podcast for you because I know exactly what it's like to be a downright hot mess trapped in the destructive cycle of disordered eating. I finally found freedom, and you can too, girlfriend. So if you're ready to heal your relationship with food and body and break the chains of control and show up in your best health, then grab your favorite Tarjay journal and let's get to it so you can start living your best life as your best self. All right, so let me just say this up front. I'm not here to sugarcoat things today. I am not going to tell you that recovery is easy or that if you just think those happy, positive thoughts, that everything is magically going to get better. That's not real life, and sis, you deserve better than empty platitudes, quite frankly. But what I am going to tell you is the truth. And here it is. When you're in a hard season, whether that's struggling with restriction, battling body image, fighting urges to overexercise, or maybe you're just feeling like you're drowning in this eating disorder, there are only 3 possible outcomes. Let me say that again. Only 3 outcomes. And I want to walk you through each one because when you understand this, this changes the way you show up in your life. Outcome number 1, you quit. Let's start with the first one. Now, I'm not talking about quitting recovery altogether, although that is one way that people do quit. I'm talking about quitting on yourself in the moment. Quitting when it gets uncomfortable. Quitting when you don't see immediate results. Quitting when the work that you're putting in feels too hard, too overwhelming, and it's just easier to go back to old coping mechanisms. What does quitting look like in recovery? Well, it looks like saying, this is too much, so I'm just going to go back to what I know. It looks like choosing restriction over nourishment because it feels safer than facing the fear. It looks like skipping meals because you had a bad body image day and you've decided that controlling your food is easier than sitting with the discomfort. But here's the thing. Quitting looks like giving up on the possibility that things could be different. Because right now, in this moment, it just doesn't feel like they ever will be different. And I know this is a hard truth to swallow, but when you quit, the hard time doesn't actually end. It just continues. But yet we never really think about that. We think that we're too fearful to jump, so we might as well stay here. But the hard time, it just stretches out. It becomes your new normal. When you quit moving forward, you stay where you are. You're not evolving. And where you are, well, that's hard, right? So why would we want to stay there? Quitting doesn't make the hard go away. It just makes it last longer. I've worked with so many women who've spent years, literally years, decades, stuck in the same patterns because every single time it got hard, they quit, they shut down. They went back to what felt safe and familiar, even though it was slowly destroying them inside. And then one day they woke up and realized they'd been living in the hard for so long, they couldn't remember what it felt like to not be in survival mode. Sis, I want you to hear me. I don't want this for you. And even if this is where you're at right now, you can make the choice to no longer quit on yourself. I know that you don't want this for you either. Outcome number 2, it gets better. It gets better. So what happens in the hard seasons? Number 1, you quit. Number 2, it gets better. Let's talk about this. This is the one we all want, right? We want the hard time to just end and get better. We want to wake up one day and have the struggle be gone. We want circumstances to change. We want the eating disorder thoughts to magically disappear. We want our body image to suddenly be healed without us having to do the work. And sometimes it does get better on its own, or maybe you've even experienced seasons of the better. Sometimes circumstances do change. Sometimes the triggering situation does pass. Sometimes that holiday gathering ends and you can go home and you can breathe again. But here's something I need you to know. If all that happens is that it gets better, meaning the external situation improves for you, but you don't change, then you're just waiting for the next hard time, the next hard season, the next hard thing to come along. And friend, it will, because life is full of hard times. It's full of hard seasons. And every single one of those times, you're prone to go back to old coping mechanisms if you aren't changing. And if you're relying on outcome number 2, it's just going to get better. It'll eventually get better. You're always going to be at the mercy of your circumstances. You're always going to be one comment away from spiraling, one bad body image day away from restricting, one triggering life event away from falling right back. And so getting better is great. I'm not saying it's not, but it's not enough. It's not enough. Because what happens when the next hard thing comes? What happens when life throws you a curveball? What happens when you're triggered again? Or your spouse does something wrong? Or your parent dies? Like, what happens then? I hate to bring those scenarios up, but seriously, you need more than just for it to get better. You need to get better. Outcome number 3 is that you get better. So when there's hard times, what are the 3 outcomes? 1, you quit. 2, it gets better. And outcome number 3 is you get better. Which brings us to this, and this is the one I want you to hear and ground yourself to. You get better. Not it, meaning the circumstance or the eating disorder behaviors. You. This is where your power lives. This is where transformation happens. This is where recovery actually takes root and becomes real and becomes lasting. When you get better, it doesn't matter as much as what the circumstances are around you. When you get better, you have tools to work through triggers. When you get better, you know how to show yourself compassion when things are hard instead of punishing yourself with restriction and overexercise. And when you get better, you stop waiting for life to be easy. You literally stop and you start building resilience to handle life as it comes. I know there's going to be seasons of crazy, and you know there's going to be seasons of crazy. But if you don't allow that crazy to impact your bubble, I call it in my coaching container with my ladies, like, this is your bubble, this is your space. We want things to come to you and bounce off your bubble. Because if not, we go back to those unhealthy coping mechanisms. When you get better, you stop wasting and waiting your life away. You stop waiting for things to be easy and you start building the resilience to handle it. So what does it mean for you to get better? Like, what does that actually mean? It means you learn to nourish your body even when you don't feel like it. It means that you challenge the food rules that have kept you trapped for years, even when it feels very uncomfortable for you. It means that you sit with those uncomfortable emotions instead of trying to control them through working out or limiting your food. It truly means that you start making decisions from your healed self instead of your wounded self. And sis, quite frankly, it's time for you to show up, even when you don't want to show up, right? Think about all that you show up for. Like, why aren't you showing up for you? You getting better means you're actively participating in getting better. You're not just hoping that things are going to change. You're not just trying. You're changing. You're growing. You're putting in the reps, is what I say. And here's the beautiful thing about getting better. Once you do that internal work, the hard times, they just hit you differently. They don't disappear. They don't go away. We know life has challenges, but they just hit you differently. They don't control you anymore. They don't keep you stuck. They don't put you right back in a tailspin. So now that we've talked through all 3 outcomes, I need to give you some more gentle real talk, I should say, and some truth that you might not want to hear, but desperately need to hear. Hard times end. They don't last forever. But, and here's the but, only if you refuse to stay stuck in them. Let me say that again because I need you to get this. Hard times end when you decide they end. Not when circumstances are perfect, not when you feel ready, not when it's easy, not when the kids are gone, not when you have more money in your bank account. They end when you decide to keep moving forward, even when it's hard. Because here's what happens when you refuse to move forward. The hard time becomes your identity. It becomes who you are instead of something you're moving through. And I know that right now it feels like this is just how it's always going to be, that you're always going to struggle with food, that you're always going to hate your body, that you're always going to feel not enough. But that's a lie, straight from the enemy. That is the disorder talking. That is the fear talking. That's the part of you that's terrified of change, because at least right now, even though it's painful, it's familiar. The truth is this: you don't have to stay here. You don't have to live in this hard time, but you do have to choose to move through it. You do have to choose outcome number 3. What is behind door number 3? You have to choose that. You have to choose to get better, not to wait for better to happen. And I'm not going to lie to you. Choosing to get better can be hard. It requires showing up when you don't want to. It requires doing the opposite than what your mind is telling you to do. It requires trusting the process even when you don't see results. I think the difference between those that truly get this and experience freedom from restriction and the mind, just like the thoughts all day long, I think the difference is that people that can escape it, and friend, I believe that's you, they feel like staying stuck is harder. Waking up a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and realizing that you're still fighting the same battles because you never chose to do the work to get better, that's actually harder. That's the hardest thing of all of it. And so here's what I want you to do right now. Wherever you are, maybe you're in your car, maybe you're on a walk, maybe you're lying in bed listening to this, I want you to make a decision. Are you going to quit? Are you going to wait for it to get better? Or are you going to choose to get better? Because I'm telling you, you have what it takes to get better. You have what it takes to move through the hard time and come out on the other side. You have what it takes to be stronger and freer and more whole than you've ever been in your entire life. The hard time you're in right now, it's not forever. It's not your ending. It's not where the story ends. It's not your identity. It's just a chapter. And you get to write what comes next. So choose better. I can't remember who said the saying, but it was like, do what you do with what you know now, but when you know better, choose better. If you need someone in your corner helping you to choose better, helping you to navigate this, this is what I do. This is what I'm here for. I would love to help you with one-on-one support. If you're ready to dive deep and do the work in a more personalized way with a coach, I would love for you to get in touch with me. You can find all of my services and apply at herbestself.co, and we'll see if it's the right fit for where you are. And I also wanted to share more about the Recovery Collective. We had our first meeting last night and it was epic. I had so much fun. We are an intimate group of ladies in the Recovery Collective, and it's just doing work and life together through recovery because you don't have to figure it out alone. You get live coaching with me, a community of women who are choosing to get better, and tools and frameworks that you need to move through the hard times instead of staying stuck in them. So if you are looking for that support, you can go out and become a member of the Recovery Collective at herbestself.co/recovery collective. All right, friend, here's what I want you to remember today. Hard times don't last. They don't. But they also don't end just because you want them to. They end when you choose to move through them, when you choose to get better instead of waiting for life to get better. You have 3 options: quit, wait, or choose. And I'm here to tell you that you are capable of choosing right. You are capable of choosing option 3. You are so capable of moving through this and coming out on the other side. So keep going, keep showing up, keep putting in the reps, keep choosing you, even when life is throwing all of the curveballs. Because the woman you're becoming, friend, well, she is so worth every hard step you're taking right now. I love you, girl, and I'll see you next time on the show. Bye for now. Oh, friend, thank you so much for letting me share what was on my heart today. My hope for this podcast is to help more women find freedom from food and body. If this has empowered or blessed you, let me know. I'd be honored for your rating and review of my show, and I'd love to connect with you in my private Facebook community. You really can move from perfection to purpose. Let's break the chains together. I'll help navigate the way. Until next time, bye for now, girl.